Welcome. In this video we're going to do a solo playthrough of The Witcher Path of Destiny, published by Go On Board. So this is a game for 1 to 5 players, and basically it's a tableau or engine building game based on the Witcher franchise. Basically we'll be trying to impact a story, and whoever does that the most by getting the most victory points will be the winner at the end of the game. I do have the deluxe edition, which does come with minis, but to me it looks like the standees shine out more, so I'll use those. But the minis do look better up here for the score track. So for our setup, we place out our board here. We have victory points up here. Here's where we have our story. And it's kind of laid out like a book, as you can see. Then we'll flip through pages. But since I'm facing this direction, we're going to change the book a little bit. Here we have our destiny tokens for each of the chapters. We've got some path tokens that we'll be passing out. Then our stack of our main deck cards. So each of these basically just has a color, a symbol on it, and there are 4 main symbols in this game. So we've got magic, diplomacy, exploration, and fight. And the story is going to let us know which one's more important at the time. So we've got those symbols. Art really doesn't matter. Some just have the colors and the symbol without any ability, and some have an ability, and those will trigger when you play them. So basically this one says if you have 2 more blue, you get the symbol that's under this path based on the story. If you have exactly 1 red, get 2 magic symbols, and so forth. So we'll see if I can shuffle all these. And in a 1 to 3 player game, we're just going to be using 4 slots. That's why the 5th one is a little bit off screen, because it is kind of a long board. So with that, basically we're going to have 2 cards in each slot that we'll be drafting. In this game there are 3 chapters, and each chapter has 3 turns. So we've got our 4 slots there, and on the last spot, if you go there, they're going to get an experience point. We have our initiative track, and if one of us goes here, we just take the top 2 cards off of the deck. Off camera, I'm going to hide all the tokens, but basically got all the 4 symbols there, and then some abilities will require us to cover up a symbol, so that's what those are for. And then for our characters, I'm playing as Geralt, going up against Dandelion, so see which one of us tells the story better. So basically at the top we have our experience, and once we go through our experience, then we can start using this tracker, and that will determine additional victory points at the end of the game. Also, our initial run through here, as this progresses, it's going to unlock other once per game abilities. So we start with training. So during playing cards, our second step, ignore losing a symbol for the played cards effect, and we'll go through the others as we get them. So there's the other 3 markers we'll get. We also start with a hand of 5 cards that's specific just to us. So you can see this one just gives us those 2 symbols. This one gives us a symbol, and then if we lose one of those symbols, we'll get 3 experience. And then some more double symbols, and then losing that one gets us tokens of the other 3 symbols. And we have an in-game goal, basically at the end of the game, depending on the number of green cards in hand. So if we've got 3 green cards in our hand at the end of the game, we get 1 point, 4 gets us 3, and 5 gets us 5. We can just slide that right there. And then for Dandelion, his abilities go on throughout the game. So for a song, he gets 2 experience for each multicolored card that he drafts. And then once his experience goes to his track, he'll unlock Change Your Tune. After drafting and playing cards, Dandelion gains 1 active symbol the player has fewer of. Choose in case of a tie. And the active symbols are going to be based by our story. And these 2 symbols are bonus tokens he'll get at the start of a chapter. And playing a normal game, he starts with 2 experience. And I'm playing the Edge of the World. We'll get into the book or tale here in a little bit, but the other part of setup is we have these cards. So we've got these divided into chapter 1, 2, and 3. So we'll take all the chapter 1 cards, give them a shuffle, and pick one out. Do the same for chapter 2. And again for chapter 3. And basically what these are doing is during each of these chapters, so during chapter 1, if we play our cards out in this specific order, all in a row, we'll get a token of the symbol represented by going to the left. And here, if we get those out, we can get going to the right. And potentially we can get both in the same turn. So I'll just place those up top for now. Then we'll get into our story, and if you're not interested in all the flavor text, I do have timestamps below so you can move ahead to the game. So basically we're just going to open our book up and start from here. So for the past few days, you've been traveling along the route in the Valley of Flowers, listening to the clatter of the wheels and your own thoughts. So when you hear somebody call you from behind, you gladly come to a halt. A break from the monotony of the journey is always welcome. The bearded peasant who catches up with you introduces himself as Netley. My village, Lower Posada, is being terrorized by a Dovil, Netley says bluntly. I thought that company like yours could help us. On your way to the village, he tells you about the beast that roams their fields day after day, destroys crops, pollutes water in the well, and steals oats from the granaries. Netley lists, but most of all, demands food in return for peace and quiet. Even though you cannot believe that creatures such as the Dovils are anything more than a figment of a human imagination, you quickly realize that the nerves of the residents of the Lower Posada are on edge. And when superstitions and agitation come into play, pitchforks and torches usually follow. But rarely is it right, and even less often just. Well, apparently before you leave this place, known as the Edge of the World, you will have to straighten this problem out. Netley leads you to Dune, the elder of the village. We are surrounded by fields of hemp, hops, and linen, which you must have passed, says Dune. That's the Devil's territory. Go there. When you reach the place, your attention is drawn to a large stone on which several clay bowls and a tallow candle, now almost entirely burnt, have been placed. Among the dishes, you find corn and beans, as well as other seeds and grains. You begin to think that all this was used by the villagers to make an offering to the Dovil. All of a sudden, from behind your back, the sound of scampering and a menacing growling reach your ears. Something is approaching you. The Dovil itself jumps out at you from the thicket of the field. It's the strangest looking creature you've ever seen, horned with a furry tail and split hooves. It starts to jump around you, and its sinister roars blend into one with your profanities. So for combat, instinctively you reach for your weapons to prevent the creature from getting too close to you. And diplomacy, at the same time, you try to talk over its roars. So here, it's kind of letting us know, if we grab our weapon, this is the route we'll go. So it's showing us the 2 active symbols. Going to be combat and diplomacy, so grabbing your weapon or speaking to the creature. It shows that what the symbols are going to be for the 2nd chapter. And down at the bottom, it's just letting you know after this, we're going to lose all our tokens. And from all our cards, we're going to choose one to keep. We're going to flip over the chapter card up there so it can't be used. And depending on which side we go on, we go to page 6 or we go to page 10. So we do have a summary card. So read the tale cards, which we've kind of just done. Now we're going to play 3 turns, and then at the end of playing those 3 turns, for the end of the chapter, we'll go through these processes, do that 2 more times, and then the end of the game. So the turn itself is going to be drafting cards, so the first thing we do is refill afterwards. Draft cards in initiative order, then move characters back. Then we'll play cards, choosing 2 cards from our hand. That works a little bit different, but we'll go over that for the solo character. So reveal and play them, resolve their card effects, and receive the extra effort bonus, which is these cards up top. Then we play the Destiny token, which will be determined by Dandelion in this game. So in the normal game, it goes by majority, but our partner has all the power in this story. So drafting cards, the way it works for Dandelion is he's going to go to the spot that gives him the most symbols for the active 2. And if he's got multiple choices, he's going to go highest in priority. And if there are no spaces for him to go, he'll just go to this area here and take 2 off the top. So most of the strategy for us is going to be denying Dandelion what he needs. But first, for the start of each chapter, for the solo mode, we are going to flip this token. So with the sign pointing this way, it means he's going to get this symbol, and on the other side, the sign points the other direction, so he'll get that symbol. And we'll flip that a number of times equal to whatever chapter we're in. We're in chapter 1, so we'll just flip it once, and it's going this direction, so we get some diplomacy. So we'll give him that token, and then he also gets these 2 tokens here, which is exploration and diplomacy. So he's already winning. And for starting initiative order in the game book, it gives you a spot. So starting initiative, we can see we are 5th down on the list, and then Dandelion is down near the bottom. So fight and diplomacy, we've got 1 of each there. Same here. But by going here, we prevent him from getting a double card. But by going here and playing a yellow out of our hand first, we can potentially get some experience. And we've got a sword there. But we're going to go with preventing victory points and take these 2. So they'll just go into our hand. Then this gives him 2 symbols, which is the best he's going to get. And for him, they just go straight into play. He doesn't care about the abilities down at the bottom, just the symbols he's going to get. Then we go back in our player order. And one other thing to note about the dual colors is the card counts as both, but for up here we get to choose which color we want. So I think I can play this one first to go for the yellow and then the red. So we, even though they both go into play, we activate from left to right. So this is just giving us a symbol, and then for this one, it's if we lose that symbol, we can get 3 experience points. And since exploration doesn't matter for this, we're going to lose that and go up 3 there. Then after we played our cards, we'll go back to our token, give it a flip. And that's a token that Dandelion's going to get. So another diplomacy. And then whichever symbol he has the most of, he's got 4 diplomacy and 1 combat. So that's going to determine where this goes. And basically what we're fighting for is victory points for the one that ends up with the most of these tokens, and experience on the one that doesn't have the most. Then prepare for the next round. We take the top cards, get discarded. Move the others up, and then refill. So 2 reds, green and a dual card, and a yellow and blue. And we're kind of looking for a blue one to put next. And I'm going to go down here, once again denying him the double. Don't know if that's the way to play or not, but that's what I'm trying this time. So there he's got 1 symbol, 1, and 1. So he's just going to go to the top, taking these 2. Then we're going with the yellow-red, so I want to play blue next. But the only blue ones I have doesn't help us with anything, but we're doing it anyway. Then we're going to see if we can do that again. So we'll go with yellow. So we played our card, so Dandelion is going to get combat. We are going to get diplomacy. And then he's got 5 diplomacy and 2 combat. So I think we know what's going to get us experience. Not that we're doing good in any of those. And set up for the next round. All right, green and blue. Some yellow options. Yellow and green. So basically active symbols, we've got 1, 1, or 1. So you're just going to go with the initiative. And I'm kind of running off the board, but and I'd kind of like to get a red and a blue potentially. This blue with that ability would get us 2 combats. So basically it's saying if you have 1 yellow card, you get a combat. 2 get you 2 and 3 get you 3. And I think we will just go with that. So we're going to play that. It just gets us a symbol. And I guess actually it's going to get us 3. So 1, 2, and 3. Then we've played our card. So Dandelion is going to get more victory points. Because now he's sitting at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Versus 3. So we've come down to what they call the dominant or dominating and non-dominating symbol. So each of us is going to gain victory points based on how many of these symbols we have of the dominating and then experienced for the non-dominating. So once again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And for us, we're looking at 1, 2. And experience, 1, 2, 3. So up to 5. And us, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So up to 8, which unlocks our ability. So end of chapter. Before the timeline cleanup, put 1 card from your timeline into your hand. The number of cards in your hand increases. And we'll be doing that step here shortly. Now we give path tokens out. So whoever had the most of each of those is going to get one of these, but when you're playing solo, the solo player does not get path tokens, but he will prevent us from getting the diplomacy, but we won combat. So we will grab that. Then cleaning up our timelines, we lose, well, the AI loses all tokens and all cards. And we lose all our tokens. But we get to keep 1 of the cards. Oh, did I get my token for doing that again? Don't remember. Oh well. Next turn, it would be nice to start with a red or green one. And I think we'll keep the green. Then we will flip that over. and move on with our tale. So since this one was the winner, we're going to page 10. So we've got this story. The devil's not so black as it is painted. This one, in fact, turns out to be a Sylvan, indeed malicious, but by no means bloodthirsty. Even though it is in a fighting mood and persistently hurls iron balls at you, you manage to establish some kind of understanding with it. One of you makes out a few coherent sentences from among all the swearing and roaring, from which you learn that the villagers did try to perform a magical ritual here to drive the beast away, relying on clues from, as the Sylvan called it, the Book of the Wizened Crone. So the player with this symbol is going to gain a magic token, which no one got. Then, as one of you won't let the creature that tried to hit you with the iron balls off the hook, they charge at the Sylvan to drive it away. The beast immediately retreats. By following its tracks, you discover the rough locations of its hiding place. The person who charged at it before is now rubbing their hands in anticipation of getting revenge at last. So the player who get this tokens moves their character to the first spot on the initiative track. If it's already there, the player gains experience instead. So we go to first place in the initiative track. You feel that the residents of Lower Posada did not tell you everything. You come back to the village with a view to make sense of the situation. Dune and Nitley reluctantly admit that they searched for answers to the problems with the devil in an old book. The possession of an elderly healer and her silent apprentice named Lily. So for exploration, you're pressed for time, but now you know the way to the Sylvan's hideout. Quickly devise a plan which will allow you to get there unnoticed. Or for magic, to avoid further surprises, you also devote some time to talk to the healer and study the book which the Sylvan told you about. So now we're flipping to, our book is showing us these 2 pages. So sneaking into the hideout, going to the healer, showing what her symbols for the 3rd chapter is. Now for our next cleanup, we're going to lose all our tokens, and out of the cards in play we get to keep 2. And then flip over the next chapter, and then this lets us know which chapter we're going to. So we discard from the top. Move these up, and fill the empty spaces. And since it's the start of another chapter, he's going to do his thing. Since we're in chapter 2, he's going to flip this twice. And that gets him a hideout token, exploration, and some magic. Then he gets his 2 here. And we go back to drafting. Well, if we go all the way to the bottom, we get 2 magic and an experience. But we're set up here to go for red next. And looking in our hand, we have 1 red card with a magic symbol. And then yellow, we've got that, or another magic. And once again, denying, not that if we left that, he'd definitely go down there for the 2 symbols. So we will go down here, gain an experience. And he's going to go here to get the 1 symbol. And reset our initiative. So we're just going to play the red and yellow, which is going to get us a magic. And since we took our turn, gets him more magic. Which gives him 3 magic and 2 navigation. Which means that will go there. So discard these, move up, fill in the blanks. We've got doubles in 3 spots now. And he's definitely not going there because none of those symbols are active. And he's going first. So there's 2 exploration, 2 inactive. All right, so he's definitely going here. And he picked up a double, which means he gets 2 experience going up to 7. So it really comes down, do I want to go first? Because if you're not first, we're going last, which I think we're doing. So we're gaining experience to get these. And I think we're going to end up playing these 2. So we know this is red and blue. I think I'm going to go for the red, blue, blue up there. So we put that in, which gives us a symbol we don't care about. But this card, we get rid of that symbol, we get one of each of the others. So destroy 1 we don't care about to get 2 that we do. And then he's going to flip. Getting some navigation. All right, so now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 navigation versus 3 magic, which means going there. And set up for the next round. Move that up and fill in our spaces. All right, nothing he cares about, nothing he cares about, nothing he cares about, one thing he cares about. All right, so he goes down here, which gets him an experience point, and that's going to unlock his second ability. So after drafting and playing cards, he gains the active symbol the player has the fewest of. And this comes down to the 0 spot. And he left us with a bunch of things that we don't care about. But we do want blue, and this could be useful. And I think that's what we're going to do. So I know I want my first card to be this blue one. And that means we are getting rid of non-active symbols to get navigation, which is active. So those are all active. We've got that itself, and another sword. So we'll get rid of that for 1, 2, and 3 to get 3 navigation. And we've got the red, blue, blue, which is going to get us another navigation in a second, but I'm just going to go ahead and get it now. And we're just going to play this card for the magic ability. We don't have any more things to get rid of there. So that's going to be it for us. So we will flip that somewhat, getting a magic. And then after drafting and playing cards, Dandelion gains the active symbol the player has the fewest of. So navigation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 versus magic is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he gets a magic symbol. Which means over here, magic is 4, 5, 6. Navigation is 3, 4, 5. So magic is going to win out, which means 6 victory points over here. So up to 12. And we had 4 up to 6. So he denied us from getting that path. So now for experience points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But we're getting 7, which takes us up to 17, unlocking this ability. And we get this token again. So we've got Witcher Fitness. Play during playing card, second step, use the full result of the effect on a played card without meeting its condition. Okay, clean up. Use all those. But we do get to keep 2 cards. And up there we've got red and yellow or green and red. And we know our active symbols are going to be navigation and combat. So I think we'll just keep our first 2. Placing them like so. And we're going to use our training ability. Actually, it's not training. It's the ability. To put one of these cards back in our hand. We'll keep that one. All right, progressing the story. We go to page 26. All right, the book was written in the Elder Futhark, an alphabet that dates back to ancient times. You also quickly realize that the healer's apprentice is hiding a secret. The one of you who studied the scriptures most thoroughly discovers that the locals consider Lil to be a prophetess. This knowledge allows you to look at the matter from a different perspective and take further actions. The player with that symbol token receives cards from the main deck till they find one of these. Put the card anywhere in their timeline, ignoring its effect, but no one got that symbol. See, the search for the Sylvan's hideout leads one of you to disturbing discovery. By an extinguished campfire, there are several feathers trimmed like arrow fletchlings. Is the Sylvan trying to arm itself? So the player with that symbol gains 2 experience, and that is us. So we're up to 19, which will unlock this. So during playing cards, play an additional card to your timeline, then draw 1 card from the main deck. It seems pretty good to have. And this question is answered in the evening when from across the field at the edge of the village you see 2 elves heading towards Lower Pasoda, bows in hand and full quivers on their shoulders. You go out to meet them. Actually, no, we're not flipping over. We're just looking here. You ran us off these lands. Her brothers live in the mountains, hungry and cold. It's time you paid for it. The first arrow is fired to confirm that it is not an empty threat. You attempt to fend off the attack with her combat. And then exploration. At the same time, you try to retreat towards a village where it will be easier to fetch Lil to the scene. If she really is more than a mere apprentice to the healer, now's the time to reveal herself and prevent bloodshed. So we've got the counterattack, letting us know where we go to, and go back for Lil, and flipping that over. So we're starting the next chapter, which means he's singing. So he's getting these 2 symbols. And we're on chapter 3, so we flip this 3 times. That is navigation. Then navigation, or exploration. And lastly, a little counterattack. Okay, discard these. Move those up and refill. All right, down at the bottom we have both symbols. Here we have we've got 3 symbols. We want green and blue. We definitely don't want to give him 3 symbols, but then again, he's probably going to get the experience anyway. And that makes him go last. Yep, talked myself into it. We're picking out these. And since he's going for the most symbols, he goes down there, which gets him an experience. He got a double, so 2 more experience. So he's maxed out. So definitely getting 4 experience or victory points at the end of the game. All right, what we're going to do is we've got red and yellow. So I want green and blue. So we'll play this first, and if we have exactly 1 green, we get 2 combat. We've got the 1 yellow. So 2 combat. Then we're going to play this as a blue, which will allow us to get 2 more. Then we're going to use this ability to play an additional card to our timeline, then draw a card from the main deck. Basically, we've got that, but we've got green and red, so blue and yellow is what I want next. So we're going to bring in this blue one and use this ability to ignore losing that symbol to gain its played effect, which will be 1 each of those. All right. So we played our card. So for a song, he's getting some exploration. Then he gets the active symbol, the one we have the fewest of, which is going to be exploration. So exploration 2 for 6 to 2. So no, exploration is going to be our victory points. So we're sitting at 3. We do get to choose first. All right, reset. Move those up. Going for the next round. All right, useful symbols. We've got 2, 2, and 1. Experience doesn't matter anymore over here. So then it comes down to abilities. That one gets us more experience, and if we have 1 green, we're way past having 1 green. But once again, if we go here, we know we go first for the final turn. And I definitely want a yellow one here to finish that, which gets us 2 of these. So yeah, we are going here. Which means he goes here for 2 symbols. Hope we're playing the yellow so that we can complete that, which is going to get us these 2. And then we'll play the blue because it gives us 1 of each of the cool symbols. Then flipping, get him combat. And now we're looking at 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Gets him another 1 of these, which moves that up. All right, final round. So this is going to decide where our story goes. I don't like the fact that we are 6 behind to start this thing. But it's Geralt versus someone with a little bit more motivation. Okay, symbol-wise, magic is useless. Magic and diplomacy, useless. Got one sword. But playing that, we can get some experience. And I do kind of want a red, because if I get a third red in, that's going to give us a sword and one of each of the symbols. Ah, red and yellow. We've got two yellows in play. So even though that doesn't matter, it gets us another sword, which is going to lose. So going for this red gets us combat. If we go for that red, we lose a magic that doesn't matter to get two. Which means he'd go down here for the experience in one of each. Yeah, I'm going to go down to get this red one. And he's going here for the experience, which doesn't matter, but does get him one of each symbol that does matter. And for us finishing up, oh yeah, and I want green cards in hand. Accidentally held on to 4. Alright, so I definitely want the red next. Then we lose magic for this ability to get us 2 swords or combat. Then we can play this, which gives us a sword, and we've got 3 or more red to get us one of each. So navigation and another sword. And since we're done, we flip, and that gets basically another victory point. And then he's getting the one we have the least of, which I'm pretty sure is another victory point. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 versus 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So he's going to get that. So everything went to going back for Lil, which means victory points. It's going to be 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So up to 24. And we ended up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Up to 14. Then experience doesn't matter, but 2, 3, 4. And once again, we had 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we go one here, which moves that down, and 11 more. Gets us 6 more victory points here in a bit, but he's still getting 4. Once again, we retain this. All right, so we're going to epilogue 44. Which is the last one. So you take cover from the elves' arrows behind the nearby rock. It looks like you're in trouble. Having recognized Lil as the queen of the fields, one of you fetches her here, followed by the healer. Apparently Lil has decided to settle down among humans and take care of the valley from there. However, she doesn't hide from the elves. The queen fearlessly steps out into the open space. So the player with that symbol is going to gain 2 victory, which no one has it. Before he can stop her, Lil begins to glow with an extraordinary power. One of the elves, stunned by this view, involuntarily releases an arrow from its bow. It flies straight towards the healer. Luckily, one of you has been on standby all along and manages to deflect the arrow. No harm is done. The player with this symbol gains 1 victory point. So we go up to 15. Then each player gains victory points based on their experience track. So 4 more, up to 28. And we made it to 6, going up to 21. Then going to our side quests. We ended up with 4, so that's going to get us 3. So we're up to 24. So 24 to 28. As expected, the bard impacted our story a little bit more. So the elves leave, and along with them leaves Lil. The moment you set out from the lower Poseida, the Sylvan blocks your path. It introduces itself as Torque and asks whether it can join you. Yesterday's events have effectively discouraged it from staying here any longer. In the evening, you sit by the campfire singing bawdy songs until the Devil finally says goodnight. So that's the basics of how playing Witcher Path of Destiny, along with the Edge of the World tale. Unfortunately, Geralt could not pull it off, but still an interesting combat or story. This kind of makes sense, us being full of all this combat. Just didn't get far enough up on this track the second time. So as always, hope you enjoyed this video. So please click on the like button below and be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.